So white allyship means a number of things to me. I think first and foremost, it's having a really good understanding and insight through a reciprocal sense of what it means to work as an ethnic minority colleague in the NHS, in NHS providers, indeed in any setting or organisation, and to really, through those conversations, understand in depth and detail the challenges, issues, microaggressions that many of our ethnic minority colleagues experience, and then to set about being able to highlight and champion the elimination of those sorts of behaviours and move into a genuinely anti-racist position in the organisation and act as a champion, an advocate, but also having that deeper understanding, sensitivity, awareness that I think can help change not just the workplace but society for the better. So I would say the turning point for me was during the height of the COVID pandemic. We had the event of the murder of George Floyd, and the Black Lives Matter movement gathered momentum and recognition and profile. And certainly in my own organisation in Leeds, I felt I needed to say something in my weekly Start the Week bulletin on the Monday morning about what had happened in the States. And I was struggling to really articulate and frame what I wanted to say. And what really helped me was a conversation I had with the chair of our Black and Minority Ethnic Network, Esther Jamera. And Esther's a fantastic colleague, and she expressed to me her feelings and the impact of that event on her and her community and colleagues. And in talking about that, I was able to gain a greater insight and understanding, and Esther helped me frame my message to all staff on the Monday morning, specifically about the killing of George Floyd and the Black Lives Matter movement. So that, I felt, was a turning point for me personally, but also for the trust, in the sense that we opened up the conversation. And Esther was really clear, it is about conversations. It's about seeking out conversations between our white staff and our ethnic minority staff about the thoughts and feelings that our ethnic minority staff have, and the insights then that being an ally. And that certainly helped me become a better ally and helped me promote the idea of that and the shared purpose of that to the rest of the organisation. So the practical things that we have done to address anti-racism and tackle inequalities have been, first of all, that creation of a sort of board level and executive level statement about our commitment to this through our corporate messaging and also through our behaviours and activities, but then backed up with some really important programmes and resources. So, for example, a number of programmes that are about supporting and developing our ethnic minority leaders at levels where they're moving from relatively junior management roles into more middle management and senior roles, and being clear that that's something we want to positively encourage, and giving and supporting those ethnic minority leaders in the kind of key skills and development opportunities. Also, we have engaged in a process of reciprocal mentoring. So I participated in that, and that's been really important because that's about bringing together emerging ethnic minority leaders with established white leaders and having those conversations together, and then coming together as a group to reflect on where we are and what the the overall impact of all of those different conversations is, and exploring some of the themes and some of the issues. And for me, that's been very important for my own insight, understanding, but also to understand what more we could do as a trust to really drive and support those leaders. Because we're not going to get greater representation of ethnic minority staff at the most senior levels of the NHS without taking positive and affirmative action in these ways. So you do need, as well as the overall statements of intent, some practical, measurable approaches to really bring on our ethnic minority colleagues into leadership roles. And then I think just the way that our, as we called it, our BME network within the Trust had a very strong relationship with the executive team in the organisation. So we would meet regularly and we would share where we were up to, and I would speak frequently at the BME network, and we'd talk about where we felt we were, how we were doing. We'd review our staff survey results, we'd look at where there were particular issues, we'd look across the whole Trust and look at the departments where there were reported inequalities and difficulties and examples of racist behaviours, and really just open that up and think about what is it we need to do to tackle that. And I think by surfacing all of that, you have a much healthier, more positive conversation and are able to create the space and the freedom for people to feel they can speak up safely, and therefore you're able to tackle those issues more directly and effectively. So I think we saw a change in tone and mood. I think we saw a definite improvement in the level of engagement of our ethnic minority staff. I think we saw a strengthening of the BME network as a result of this, and we certainly saw much wider participation in those development programs that we were setting out, as well as a greater understanding and embracing of allyship amongst our staff. The reciprocal mentoring program, I think, gave greater depth and reach and consequently impact of the issues surrounding race equality and being an anti-racist organisation within the Trust. And that, I think, led to different behaviours on a day-to-day basis in the way that there was greater inclusivity and greater sensitivity and consideration of our ethnic minority staff. So in my personal life, I have taken the opportunity to read quite a lot, and I've been influenced by the poetry and literature of many ethnic minority authors, and it's powerful to kind of go back, I think, and give a historical perspective on some of this, because of course we've been on a continuing journey over the decades in relation to race equality and racism and so on, and indeed differential experiences in different countries. So for us in this country, I think, particularly if we think about the NHS, the vital contribution that, for example, the Windrush generation have made to the NHS, the enormous importance of the diversity and inclusion in our great cities in terms of our ethnic minority population, you can't sort of overstate. So I've gone out of my way to be curious about that and to find out about that, and I've spent time with different staff members across the organisation, and I'm looking forward in this job to be able to help contribute personally to NHS providers' anti-racist programme. One thing that is a permanent reminder of what we did in Leeds is the book we published, which is an account. It's called Amplifying Voices, Mending Divides, and it's an account of the experience of our ethnic minority staff, and it's a powerful set of experiences and accounts. So that book, which we published with our BME network, is a permanent reminder of the importance of this, and that resonated, of course, through the whole organisation, but we've shared it more widely. So I bring that with me as a contribution to the debate and discussion and the programme that we set out in NHS Providers. I'm delighted to be here as Chief Executive of NHS Providers because this is a platform, and we are an organisation that has a national reach. We have a fantastic membership, all of whom I know share the intention and the appetite to really tackle this. My vision is that we help and support them to do that. So our anti-racist statement from last November is absolutely clear, alongside a whole set of programmes that we are developing that we can help offer up to boards of trust, starting with hearts and minds of leaders and making sure that that sort of education, insight, understanding is there. Then, of course, the idea of sharing best practice, using the evidence that exists to really deploy those to best effect, learn from one another and create that network where we can share what's really working in our respective organisations. And then, of course, that the importance of that accountability for this, so that this is not optional, this is absolutely fundamental to running a fair, effective, anti-racist organisation with race equality built in to the systems and processes. And the supporting set of resources, podcasts, programmes that we have in NHS Providers will give our members hopefully a toolkit for them to use where we can support them. So I see ourselves as an advocate, a champion, but also an enabler and a facilitator to help our members really enter this with confidence and commitment and a sense of excitement about what this can deliver in terms of creating organisations that are much freer from discrimination, that feel great places to work and have a very, very inclusive, compassionate and positive spirit.